Well, here we go again. The White House already has a laundry list of scandals on its hands, but it better be ready to tackle yet another. Emails released last week indicate the Federal Election Commission is involved in the IRS Tea Party targeting fiasco. So will the White House be calling this a phony scandal too? Joining us now is Jordan Seculo. He's the executive director of the American Center for Law and Justice. Jordan, thanks a lot for joining us this morning. Give us just a quick overview of what we know happened with the FEC targeting conservative groups.
Sure. These emails were released last week, just a few days ago, by the House Ways and Means Committee and Chairman Camp. And what the emails show, it involves Lois Lerner from the IRS, who used to be at the Federal Election Commission. She was the head of the Enforcement Division, where she actually started those questions about the content of people's prayers when she targeted the Christian Coalition, and eventually the Christian Coalition was found not to have done anything wrong. But it was multi-year and thousands of pages of depositions, questions, including those prayer questions. She then goes to the IRS, but these emails show that as early as 2009, and in the email, it references an FEC official to her saying several months ago we spoke about, and then a group, a 501c4 applicant, asking information about whether or not they were granted status. And they tried to say, well, we're not looking for confidential. Of course, if it wasn't confidential, they wouldn't have to ask her. They would be able to find that. And they are not exempted. There's a specific provision, 26 USC 6103, that says you cannot, as a federal official in the IRS, disclose taxpayer information unless. And what do you find? There's no FEC in the unless. There's no exemptions or exceptions.
Of course not. There's no more sacred and guarded information in domestic American life than our tax information. And here's another example of it being misused for political reasons. By the way, this took place, just to be totally clear, it sounds like during the 2008 presidential campaign.
That's right. In fact, Tucker, one of the groups, there were two targeted. One was actually targeted because of an FEC complaint filed by an Obama campaign lawyer. So literally involving the Obama campaign, saying we think this group did something wrong, so they file a complaint with the FEC. The other complaint came in from the Democratic Party, the Farm Labor Party in Minnesota. So both have direct connections to actual, it's not just progressive or liberal groups, but the Democratic Party or the Obama campaign. And in these instances, just so everyone is clear, the FEC attorney also looks like they were potentially violating their rules in the law, because they are not allowed to launch an investigation until the commissioners have approved one. And this was they were trying to get more evidence. In fact, with one of these groups, they tried for over 2 years. Then Citizens United came, and they tried again, even, to try and get the commissioners to authorize some kind of investigation. And they were chastised by the FEC, the way the lawyers worked. And Lois Lerner, again, she's got the connection. She was the head of enforcement for the FEC from '86 to 2001, and then she moved over to the IRS. So these emails don't just say, well, this was the only conversation. And by the way, her response was in 9 minutes to one of the emails and said, how can we help here, to her staff.
How can we help?
So it's not
here?
like she said, we can't help. She said, how can we help?
So just to the bottom line it, in the last two presidential elections, federal agencies have secretly put their thumb on the scale, in effect, on behalf of the Obama campaign. Terrifying.
And this is why Lois Lerner took the fifth. I mean,
Right.
This is serious, and she knows that as someone who's spent her career in these divisions. And so, again, sharing taxpayer information, it's not just criminal. It's actually count 8 in our 41-party lawsuit where we represent a lot of these Tea Party groups about this information. So, Tucker, this is for real. It's not phony.
It's the most basic kind of violation, I think. Thanks a lot, Jordan. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Tucker.